This is Leo, Atheist Large, here in Chicago. In response to a rant by the Amazing Atheist, get a job and quit stealing our jobs. This country would be nowhere today if it didn't have timber, iron, gold, a vast territory, and immigrants to do the shit work. These immigrants, however, were all legal. Many different processes that the government instituted made these immigrants legal, very much like the NAFTA agreement of recent years. But in the past, the agreements were temporary. You were able to come in, you would get a plot of land, all you had to do was just work, or you were given something, all you had to do was just work. We had huge amounts of people coming in from Europe, Irish, Italians, and you will, if you remember, or maybe some of you are too young, the ethnic slurs. Irish were called mix, Italians were called dagos, and now the Mexicans are called spics. I don't know how the last one got their name, but Irish, a lot of people are Mick whatever. Dago, with the limited English skills of the Italians coming in, and they wanted to get paid at the end of the day, they would say, Dago, pay. So people just called them Dagos. However derogatory these names are, there is a pattern here. These are basically DPs, displaced persons, and although they were needed to make this country strong because they're the ones that did the work that the lazy Americans didn't want to do, they were still ostracized and still are ostracized. Now, back to the idea of some of the ideas in Amazing Atheist's clip here. The idea of the modern slave class in the U.S. I don't agree with. That's not true in the sense that people have been posting. Even in modern day trades where an intern gets paid nothing but he gets a skill set, slaves just get food for the most part. That's it. So I don't see a slave class here. According to the NAFTA treaty, the Mexican immigrants are legal, so it seems, but the money they make is very limited to how it is bolstering the U.S. economy. So many immigrants take their money, no matter where they're from, and they send it back home. Now, there are many conspiracy theories out there that there's a global government trying to be formed. The Bushes are supposedly part of this. Monarchy of England. There's also supposedly some ties to some heavyweights in Japan. I forget, there's a name of a book that tells all about this. And once again, it's one of these conspiracy theories. But in order for all of this to work, it's said that the U.S. will have to be taken down to a third world status for it to take place. The addition of millions and millions of Mexicans will help to create this cause. The U.S. could get to the point where people outside the country or that retain allegiance or citizenship to another country could become a major part of this society. America will just be a thing of the past, and the country could crumble. Countries do have a habit of falling apart, and we would be arrogant, to say the least, to think that ours couldn't. With bad leadership, with the social structure itself not being coherent to itself, that could make some major problems for the country as a whole. With this in mind and how the people's mindsets are, why would you want to go to school? Americans already hate school and they have poor grades. Teachers complain that they don't get enough resources to teach the kids. The kids just aren't willing to learn. There's no family structure to make the kids or help the kids learn. So why go to school? Why try to get a job? Why, when someone else could come in and do the job cheaper? The Americans don't have any skills. And when somebody's in just wanting to work, even if they don't have the skill, they're willing to do the work. The work wouldn't be done that well, but it would get done. I do believe this is also part of how America could crumble. By just not having the ability to give the American people what they want. And that is services, merchandise of good quality. And we're not going to be able to provide that. I do believe all things in moderation. Whether it's nationalism or what you eat, it's all relative. All things in moderation. We're all standing on soapboxes trying to get our points across. The Amazing Atheist is trying to get his across. And I really don't think that he has thought it out or researched the topic very well. It's just a gut feeling. I'm not saying that some gut feelings aren't right or wrong. I just don't agree with this one. And I think that we are basically doomed to mediocrity with his way of thinking and with the path of which the U.S. is currently going. Since we're all doomed to mediocrity, we might as well just sit back and let the Chinese, Japanese, and Mexicans just take over. How the hell could the United States stop an invasion of over 500 million people? China has 1.3 billion. 400 million from them. Take another 100 million mixed up with Japanese and Mexicans. We wouldn't have a chance. They could just walk over to everybody's house, almost 2 people to 1, and just take over. They've already got huge dollars in this country. Downtown Chicago here, probably 20% of it is owned by Japanese concerns. Throughout the suburbs, there's huge Japanese interests. Look at the cars that we buy. Most people would rather buy a Japanese car than an American car. And you say, well, American cars are shit. Well, why is that? Americans are basically lazy and don't want to have pride in their product. The last time that I can think of that a car had pride that was being built was probably a Tucker. And before that, a Model T. Everything else is just dollar signs for somebody. Well, I think that's enough for my rant, and the answer, or response I should say, for the Amazing Atheist post on Get a Job and Quit Stealing Our Jobs. Please stop by the website, www.atheistartlarge.org, and try and find my Dennis Prager YouTube post. I've got a vid up for that. The guy really pissed me off, and I do believe that atheists should unite. Just tell that gasbag that we as humans are significant, even though we aren't significant to the universe. Once again, this is Leo, Atheist at Large, signing off.